Today we are going to make carnations. Look at the flower on the table. Now we need to prepare some of these petals. We take a white twisty stick and measure 3 centimeters. After 3 centimeters, then we fold it down like this. Fold it back and forth like this. For each corner. Try to keep the height of each corner the same. Then we can ignore the excess part below. Now we have folded out 5 corners. Then we fold a slightly longer one. It can be about 3.3 to 3.5 centimeters. Then fold it back and forth like this. This one will be a little longer. This one only folds out 4 corners. Let's compare them. You can fold it between 3 and 3.5 centimeters, which is alright. The smaller one is on the inner layer, and the larger one on the outside. Next, we need to use a hair straightener to clip the petals. Because the petals of carnations are actually very thin, and the edges of the petals are a little like serrations in this shape, so I choose to use this method. This way, the edges will have a little serration. They are all single layer twist sticks. After using the iron, it will be particularly flat. We need to use the newly made petals to clip them. Next, we need to glue the petals together, because each corner is a little far apart. So we just put a little glue, then stick them all together. Don't put too much glue here. After applying the glue, immediately use your hands and try to make them stick together. It should be like a flat surface. Then we need to glue the bottom part. We need to pinch the bottom together and apply some glue. Then we just use our hands directly. Just pinch them together. Don't squeeze it too tightly. It doesn't need to be squeezed too tightly. Then do the same for the other half. Between each petal, after gluing each corner, immediately pinch it to squeeze it tightly. Then we need to straighten the bottom part first. After combing them, then apply some glue here at the bottom. Then squeeze the bottom part closer. Just a little closer. Look at this petal. Prepare 15 petals. That is, prepare about 15 petals in advance. And you can add more, if it's not enough. Now I'm coloring the tips of all the petals, a color. Because the main color system I make is blue. The line on the edge of the petal, which is equivalent to giving it a blue color. We need to color the tips of all the petals here. And because the shape of the petals is uneven, so we need to color the concave areas to ensure that the line has color. Let's speed up the dyeing process here. Some petals have a folded corner on one side. It's not a particularly closed shape. This doesn't matter. When assembling later, we can just bend it inside. Now that the petals are basically all colored, let's teach you how to make a small leaf. Take a whole twisty tubes and then the front corner. At a distance of 7 centimeters, fold it together like this. Cut off the excess part. Leave a section at the bottom. This is actually just a double fold. There are larger ones and smaller ones. The smaller one can be 5, 6, or 7 centimeters. This will change the size of the leaves. Then, we need to use a flat iron to flatten them. And then trim the tips. Now, because the flat iron is not heated well, we are going to glue the petals. As far as I can see, actually, the stamens are basically invisible. But when making this flower, I still added a few stamens to it to make it look better. Fold the stamens in half and then directly stick it on the flower stem. Now we are sticking the petals. Look, we fold this petal into a curved shape. Because its petals are has a change in layers. Each petal is not straight. So we fold each petal and then stick it. I fold each petal in the same way. Look, from the side, it's a bit S-shaped. Then we apply glue to the base of the petals, so that one overlaps the other slightly, and then stick them together. And then pay attention to the height of each petal. Try to keep them consistent. Look from above, it's like it forms such an irregular shape. Then continue to stick it down. Pinch each petal to form an S shape. Then glue the root. Continue to overlap the upper half of the petals slightly. And the upper petals. Then stick this petal like this. There is nothing else to note. Is to try to keep the height the same. I also stick the petals a little faster. That is, everyone, you can watch it several times when you do it yourself. But this operation is actually a repetitive process. There is nothing complicated about it. It's quite simple. While you are sticking, look at its shape from the front. If there are missing petals, we can stick more petals there. If the petals in some places are saturated, you can stick them in another place. You need to keep looking at it from the front, its shape, to adjust, and decide where to place the petals. In addition, the petals of the carnation are irregular. So if the petals are a little longer or shorter or tilted, you can adjust them slightly by hand. Don't worry too much, because this flower, that is already in a relatively casual style. So you can stick them with confidence. After I finished gluing the petals, I found that the petals were still a little short. There were a little bit of petals missing. So I immediately made a few more petals. The method is exactly the same as before. And since these are the outer layers, so we can make them a little longer. 3.3 to 3.5 centimeters. Then fold it like this. Basically, for one stick to make 4 corners like this. Then use the iron to flatten them. To stick the petals together and color them. The method of making is exactly the same as what I told you just now. The flat iron is ready. I also flattened the leaves. And flatten the leaves. Now we glue the petals together. Here I just put it a little faster. I didn't edit it out. So, if some friends want to watch it repeatedly, you can also watch here. In fact, the method of making is relatively simple. Glue the bottom of the petals together. And make the bottom narrower. Then color it again. The color should be the same as before. Next, we will create a shape. And stick it on. This is the same as the previous method of gluing petals. Then from the front, if there is a part where the petals are missing, we can stick it in that position. Here, because the camera is directly in front, it's a bit inconvenient. When you are doing it, you must look at it from the front. You should observe the shape of the flower carefully. In this way. To make the flower look better. Now, there are only 2 petals left. And then stick it in the place where I feel it is missing. And the other half is also filled in the missing part. Then we press the bottom down tightly. Glue the bottom neatly. Now look at this flower. The shape is basically good. Then we will make something similar to a calyx. Because the carnation has there is a relatively long green part. We take a green twisty stick. And fold it into a 3 centimeter corner. Fold it back and forth like this. Then glue under the corner. Then we press it tightly. To make it a little tighter. And stick it on the bottom. Then another one. These 2 are basically enough. Both are nearly 3 centimeters long. Then we squeeze them together. And stick it on the bottom. This is equivalent to making a calyx for the carnation. There is a calyx. Then we move it slightly outward. To wrap around the petals. Let's take a look. This is a little bit like this. Shape of a calyx. I used a total of 3 small leaves here. I have used the ironing plate to iron the leaves. So now we just need to trim the tips. Just a little bit. These 3 leaves are just folded in half. Then pinch the tips and cut them a little bit. Then adjust the shape of the leaves slightly. To bend it a little bit. Then we can assemble it. Here, I use a hair iron to slightly heat the calyx. Just to heat it up a little bit, to make the calyx more flat. Now it's just wrap the floral tape, just along the calyx, and wrap it down. The floral tape is too long and cut off a little. After winding a little bit down, then we can add the first small leaf. And glue the root of the small leaf. And then stick it next to the flower tape. To the position where it's wrapped. After sticking, continue to wrap the floral tape down. And continue to add leaves. Glue a little bit at the root of the leaf. And then close to, just next to the position of the floral tape. After sticking, continue to wrap the floral tape down. Then stick the 3rd petal. The 2nd and 3rd petals. We are in a relative direction. Left half and right half. In this way, it will have a little bit of symmetrical beauty. Then finish wrapping the floral tape. This carnation is done. Also, I want to say the one on the right on the table. You can see the one on the right. It's a little bit different. The one on the right, when we folded the petals, we folded out mini corners. Then we stuck them together, right? So the flower on the right side of the table is now glued together. Each corner is loose. Then we glue them together half by half. So you can see that it is a little different. If you like that kind of flower, you can do it. Well, you can do it like this. Okay, the tutorial is over.